Purport by Srila Prabhupada. An enemy who does not resist is never killed by a warrior who knows the principles of religion. Formerly, battles were fought on the principles of religion and not for the sake of sense gratification. If the enemy happened to be intoxicated, asleep, etc., as above mentioned, he was never to be killed. These are some of the codes of religious war. Formerly, war was never declared by the whims of selfish political leaders. It was carried out on religious principles, free from all vice. Violence carried out on religious principles is far superior to so-called non-violence. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport to the 36th shloka of 7th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, 1st canto. So, this Bhagavatam is actually the crest jewel of all revealed scriptures. The Bhagavatam, it is said, Nigama kalpataror galitam phalam. Srimad Bhagavatam is a mature fruit of desire tree of Vedic literature, and it is Mahamuni Krite, Mahamuni Vedavyasa Krita literature. Sadhyaha Hridi Avaridhyatetra. Sadhyaha means immediately. Hridi Avaridhyatetra. All the unwanted things that are sitting in the heart can be completely driven out by Kritibihi Shushrushubihi, by submissive oral reception to this great literature. Just by submissively hearing that Supreme Lord who is worshipable, who is glorified in all the Shruti, Smriti Shastra, is established in the core of the heart irrevocably, permanently. And this Bhagavatam is unique. Dharmasya projita kaitavotra paramo nirmatsaranam satam. Completely rejecting all religious activities which are materially motivated, this Srimad Bhagavat Purana propounds the highest truth. Understandable by those who are completely pure in heart. So this Bhagavatam is Paramahamsa Samhita. It is Bhashyam Brahma Sutranam, the natural commentary of Vedanta, Mahabharata, Gayatri and Vedas are also found here. Arthoyam Brahma Sutranam. The meaning of Brahma Sutra is present in Srimad Bhagavatam. Bharatartha Vinirnayaha and Nirnayatmaka conclusions of the Mahabharata is present in Srimad Bhagavatam. Purana Samarupaha Sakshat Bhagavatoditaha. Dharma, actually, here we are talking in this verse, who is the knower of religious principles and how does he act? So what is religion is a question. So there are many scriptures which actually there is, this Bhagavatam is unique from all other scriptural understanding is, this presents the highest truth. Actually, the living entity in his journey towards self-realization or God-realization, he is placed in different understandings. So somebody completely rejects the existence of Supreme Being, Supreme Lord. Says, who is God? Where is God? Can you show me God? There is no God. I am God. So this is the opinion and belief of some people. And some people go about with life with that understanding. And yet there are others who understand that yes, there is some higher superior truth. Although beyond my conceiving ability and capacity, there is something superior. There's some energy, some light, there's some divinity, there is some force which is acting, which is working. They recognize nature as powerful. Nature is wonderful. So, another understanding people have. So there are different grades of people. And in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Manushyanam Sahasreshu. There are many, many living entities. Amongst all of them, he is very, very rare who understands Vasudeva Sarvamiti, Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna is the cause of all causes, he is the creator, maintainer, manifester. He has manifested this cosmic world. So that understanding, Samahatma Sudurlabha. So this Bhagavatam is meant for Paramahamsas, completely free in heart, who doesn't have any Matsara. So Srimad Bhagavatam begins by questions by the sages, Naimisharanya. They are asking many questions. The 6 questions are mentioned in the first canto, first chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. And when Suta Goswami begins to answer the questions of sages of Naimisharanya, headed by Shaunaka, he says, Muneha sadhu prishtoham bhavadbir lokamangalam. The questions what you have asked is very, very wonderful. Why? Because it brings about lokamangalam, it brings auspiciousness, good fortune for everybody in this loka, in this existence, in this material world. Yat kritaha Krishna samprashno, that prashnaha which is connected to Krishna brings lokamangalam, and yena, by which atma suprasidati, the self can completely find satisfaction. And then the next shloka, he says, Savai pumsam paro dharmaha yato bhaktiradokshaje ahaituki apratiyatha yayatma suprasidati. Savai pumsaha. So we are talking of dharma. Dharma means the principles enunciated by the God. Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. Dharma cannot be manufactured by according to our whims. Dharma is given. It is the ordain of the Lord. No one can change it. And it is the real occupation of all living entities is to engage in devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yatha, by which, by the principles of following of religion, Bhakti Radokshaje, Bhakti, devotional service to Adokshaja, Krishna, who is beyond sense perception. The activity which results in culmination of attraction towards Krishna is the real activity, it's the real dharma of the living entity. And by that activity, by that principle enunciated in the scriptures, one finds complete satisfaction. And further he says, Dharmasya hi apavargasya. Dharma, all occupational engagement, are certainly meant for ultimate liberation. Any activity in this material world, what we do, it leads to karma bandhana. But there is one activity which actually leads us to apavarga. This material world is compared to as pavarga. So, nija dharma acharana should be to satisfy that Supreme Lord. And na arthasya dharmaikantasya. Dharma should not be for material gain. Sometimes people think Dharmacharana means going to temple, praying to the Lord, to fulfill all our desires. And some people, you can see in the society, they say, no, you go to that particular temple. And in that particular temple, the God or the deity is so powerful that all your desires, you perform one vrata, visiting the temple and praying to the Lord, and you see your desires will be fulfilled. So you go to that temple and get your desires fulfilled. So this is a kind of a business transaction. And Bhagavatam is not aiming at this. It's going beyond. Dharma should not be for artha. You go to temple and you ask God for something. Actually, God is a supplier. God is supplying all our requirements. But when we surrender to the Lord completely and serve Him for His pleasure, that anyonya premamaya sambandha is what this Bhagavatam is trying to establish, not vyavaharika sambandha. You go to Lord and, oh my God, please give me this, please help me come out of the difficulties. No. Our goal, main aim, main purpose in life is to satisfy Lord. And just by simply in that direction, in that endeavor, if you work, all your desires will be fulfilled. There is no need for you to independently seek your desires to be fulfilled. Your desires will be purified. First of all, we don't know what desires we should have. We'll have purified consciousness and our desires will be purified. We'll be aiming towards that ultimate perfection. So this Bhagavatam is meant to bring that revolution in the hearts of the misdirected civilization. So, Nija Uddesha of Dharma is not material gain, but it is to go to Apavarga, it is to go to the abode of Krishna. So, in our Akshara Lipi, there are Kavarga, Chavarga, Tavarga, and this Pavarga, Pa, Pa, Bha, Bha, Ma. So, where Bhagavatam very nicely explains, the activity what we do in this material world will bind us. And the only way to apavargasya, transcend this pavarga and go to the abode of Supreme Lord is means of bhakti, attraction. So, this pa means parishrama. In the material existence, all of us are laboring very, very hard. Even in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Nahi kakshit kshanamapi jatu tishtatya karma krit. Even for a kshana, we can't sit idle. I can't say, no, I'll not work. You are forced to work. You are forced to undergo parishrama. Even in Itoparya Desha, it is said, Nahi suktasya simhasya muke pravishyanti mrigaha. Even if the king of the forest, the lion is considered as the king of forest, if he lies down and sits, let mrigaha, I am the king, all the animals come and fall in my mouth. No, that doesn't happen. Even the king of the forest, the lion, has to do parishrama, has to work very hard. So, the characteristic of this material world is pa, means parishrama, hard labor. So, by this hard labor, what is the result of this hard labor? Pa means fena. Complete exhaustion of human energy. Sarva Shakti, all the vital strength is exhausted. Actually, one works very, very, very hard. Sometimes the foam comes into the mouth. Just like the horse, sometimes you will see, the horse is laboring so hard that that white foam is dripping out. So like that, hard labor, humans are working very hard. Sometimes there is a foam in the mouth to accomplish our desires. Things doesn't fall easily in this material world. You have to work very hard. Even after working very hard, somebody may think, okay, now is that I'm working very, very hard, doing all this parishrama, the result may be desirable, good thing. But the scripture says, the result of this parishrama and pena is, the next one is bhaya. Bha means bandhana. Bandhana, in this material world, all activities leads to karma bandhana. Even in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Yagnartat karmano anyatra. Other than activities which are Yagnaha means Krishna, Yagnaha means Vishnu. So activities which are not done for the satisfaction and pleasure of Vishnu leads to what? Karma bandhana. So, if you sow a mango seed, you can expect sweet mango fruit. If you sow a neem seed, bitter tasting neem fruits. So, yat karma bija, yat karma phala. The actions what you do, if you sow a good seed, it will lead you to good result. If you sow a poisonous seed, the seed will, fructify, grow, and tree, and then the fruit is poisonous fruit. So what action we do, we will reap that action. So in all the scriptures, what sort of a action, what sort of a karma we should do? What is it mentioned? What do you think? We should do punya karma or papa karma? What do you think is mentioned in all the scriptures? What karma we should do? Punya karma? No. Actually, by papa karma, one is forced to experience the result of the papa. But the same activity, punya, if you do, even that by that punya activity you will be forced to experience punya karma. So what this Bhagavatam is trying to say is, you should not do, first of all, you should not do papa karma. And if you are aiming for punya karma, even that is bandhaka. That will cause bandhana to this material world. That's the reason this Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam are real scripture in the sense which is giving the absolute param tattva about that param satyam, absolute truth, the information about absolute truth, the understanding of that absolute truth, the understanding of that parama purusha, supreme person, is very nicely explained. Any activity in this material world will lead us to karma bandhana, either punya or papa. So what activity we should do? We should do bhakti. And even in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Svalpamapyasya dharmasya, even a little bit of this bhakti can save one. Trayate mahato bhayat. It can save one from the greatest of great danger. What is the greatest danger? So, it will lead us bandhana. Yagnartat karmano anyatra lokoyam karma bandhana. It will lead us to karma bandhana in this loka, in this material existence. And that activity which is devoid of bhakti leads to bandhana. So the next stage of bha is bha means bhaya. In this material world, no one can say I am free. I have got no fear. Today at this moment you may be without any fear, but it doesn't guarantee that next moment you will have no fear. There were few people sitting in hotel early morning, and then suddenly some indiscriminate shooting happens. So there are terrorist attack. And you don't know. Padam hi vipadam. Bhagavatam says at every step there is danger, there is fear. So there is first of all a hard struggle. Parishrama leads to fena, complete exhaustion of human energy, which leads to, even after doing all these material activities, the result is bandhana, and that bandhana leads to fear, and due to fear, we are in a very, very precarious condition. Actually, this Bhagavatam, Prabhupada explains a very nice analogy. If some of you have actually seen a slaughterhouse, in the slaughterhouse you'll see there are many animals tied to his neck with a rope to a pole, and they're all standing there. Moment any grahaka or a customer comes to that slaughterhouse, what does the slaughterer do? He will catch hold of one animal, be it sheep or goat, he will drag that and with a sharp sword, he will slither its throat, cut it. Although the other goats, they may be seeing this, that right in front of our eyes, one of our fellow goat was dragged by this slaughterer, catching its neck. He was pulled much against his wish and then taken and then slaughtered with pain, its suffering, although the other goats may see. But can the goat do any pratikriya, any reaction to that? Next moment you give some grass to the goat will happily enjoy eating the grass. It has got no intelligence to inquire about what is happening. Where am I? What is this position? What is this situation? The next moment I may be caught and dragged and slaughtered. It has got no ability to do pratikriya. That's the reason the Bhagavatam mentions Ashitam Chaturams Chaiva Laksham, 84 lakh species of human life. Amongst that, this human form of life, 84 lakh species of yonis of jivas are there. In that, this human form of life is very, very rare. Why? Because we can inquire into the absolute. Why am I forced to undergo misery, difficulty? I don't want difficulty. I don't want misery. How I can come out of all misery or difficulty, that we can inquire. That's the reason Bhagavatam says, Athato Brahma Jignasa. Therefore, this Athataha means therefore. Why therefore? Because 84 lakh species are there. Out of all this human form of life has got developed intelligence to inquire. Now we are inquiring about many things. But our real inquiry should be Brahma Jignasa. Inquiry about the absolute truth, by which enatma suprasidati, Atma can find complete satisfaction. So today our inquiry is misdirected. Bhagavatam is trying to establish what sort of an inquiry we should do. Atato Brahma Jignasa inquiry about the absolute truth, Supreme Brahman. Who am I? When did I become part of this material world? Is there any way by which I can stop, I can end this material existence? Punarapi janana, punarapi marana, punarapi janani, jatare shayana, iha sansare bahudustare. This material world is, the result of this is again repeated birth and death. Can I break this cycle? So that sort of a question we can inquire. With the ability to inquire is there in this human form of life. In animal form you don't find that. Just like in a highway street, a dog gets knocked down by a speeding truck. The other dogs nearby, they can maximum go sniff around and run away. They can't inquire what happened to our fellow dog. What are we going to do about this speeding truck? Similar thing happens to human. You see so much of hue and cry and media and other people trying to bring about a policy, trying to bring about a solution. All the commercial vehicles cannot come into the residential area and so many things, arrangements are made. We are inquiring to live happily. But this very existence is in a place of misery. So a living entity by nature is Anandamaya, is supposed to be completely in happy state, because Krishna is Anandamayo Vyasat. And we, being part and parcel of him, we are also seeking for Ananda, enjoyment. But in material realm, no matter whatever material activity you may do, that will not lead us to complete satisfaction. So, this is the story of the goat in the slaughterhouse. Although being dragged and pulled, it can't give any pratikriya. But according to Vedas, according to revealed scriptures, Srimad Bhagavatam. This place is similarly compared to a big slaughterhouse. This material existence is compared to a big slaughterhouse. There is a slaughterer by the name Kala. And we are all the living entities in this material world are animals. Standing in a line, standing in a queue, waiting for our number. So all the jivas are standing in queue. And Kala, when the right time comes, Kala will catch hold of the animal and nirdhaya, without any mercy, he will cut off. So, just imagine, replace the sheep and goat. Imagine humans are placed in a slaughterhouse, and right in front of our eyes, somebody is being dragged by his hair, being pulled right in front of us, is being slaughtered. So what should be our first pratikriya? What do you think will happen when somebody is noticing that, when somebody is viewing that drishya? What happens? What do you think? The first thing. Bhaya? Yes, here will be fear struck. And then what? What will happen? We want to escape that situation, right? Any person who has got little intelligence will first think, how can I escape from this place? Is there any place by which I can escape the slaughter of this slaughterer? Yes or no? So, this material world is compared to the slaughterhouse, and all the animals are being slaughtered by Kala. There is one escape route. There is one, only one, in this human form of life. That's the reason this human form of life is mentioned very, very rare, because it gives us an opportunity to escape this slaughter's wrath. And when you inquire into the absolute truth, inquire, what are my duties? What is the Nija Dharma? The Nija Dharma of the living entity is to engage in devotional service. And there are Navavida Bhaktis, 9 process principles of devotion, 9 forms in which you start with any one. Starting with Shravanam, hearing. What we are trying to do is we are trying to hear. The Bhagavatam begins by saying, Sadyo hridyavahridyatetra kritubihi shushrushabits tatshana. Just by this Shravana, the principle of hearing from the right source, from the right authority, submissively hearing, immediately avahridyatetra, all the misgivings in the heart will be wiped out. So we have so many misgivings. We don't hear from the right source. That is our problem. We have our own understanding, our own way of life. Just like if somebody wants to become doctor, so he doesn't follow any according to his whims. He says, okay, I want to be like a medical practitioner. According to me, the liver is in this part of the body, and the kidney is right behind the brain. Do you think that is possible? Practically, there is Nija Sthiti, or the actual reality is different. So people have own idea, there is no God. Whatever you do is dharma. Yato mat tato pat. Whichever way you can follow any route, and ultimately you can attain perfection. See how people are misled, and because there are cheaters, and this material world, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says this world is a combination of cheaters and cheated. You want to get cheated, you will go to cheater. Actually, the Supreme Lord is there in the heart. If we pray to the Lord, to reveal the truth. One step you put, the Lord puts countless steps, hundreds and thousands of steps towards our direction. But due to ignorance only, that we are not approaching Krishna. Sometimes you say, people, you please come to temple, are so busy in activity that there's no time. Although we may try many things to make them chant, please come to temple, please have darshan of the Lord, and give invitation. They're very busy. No, yes, we'll come. You see, so much opportunities, the entire Vedic literature are giving us, informing us an opportunity of just to hear. Shravanadi, Shuddha, Chitta Karaya Uday. Just by hearing Shravana Adi, hearing, chanting, remembering Adi, etc., Shuddha, clear consciousness will come. Actually, we are by nature, we are in knowledge. Now that knowledge is covered by ignorance, illusion. So, this bhakti process, what it will do, it will remove all the ignorance. Just like when there is a cloud, you can't see sun. It is the same sun. During summer, it is very, very hot and scorching. In the summer, we can't bear the scorching heat of the sun. And in the winter, although the sun may be there, we anticipate, the sun is not powerful, its sunshine is not powerful. No, it is not that the sun has become weak, it is the cloud which is the covering, that which has covered the powerful effect of the sunshine. We don't feel the scorching heat of the sun. So like that, it is the covering, it's the material cloud in our consciousness that which covers us from understanding we as a part and parcel of Krishna. We are Amsha of Krishna. I am also eternal. My constitutional position is to render loving devotional service. Premamaya Sambandha, that Anonya Sambandha with the living entity and the Lord is what this Bhagavatam is trying to establish, and that is the real Nija Dharma of the living entity. So that we don't know. So when we are chanting, we think we are chanting. What is that? There is no effect. It's just like when there is cloud is removed, you can feel the intensity of the sun. Likewise, now we are chanting and the cloud of ignorance is covering us. So we are not able to feel the power of chanting. It's not that the chanting is, the process of chanting is doubtful. No, sun is as powerful, either winter or summer, he is very, very powerful. Like that chanting is very powerful. Krishna's name is powerful, Krishna's form, Krishna is all auspicious. Moment we come in contact with Krishna, everything auspiciousness will manifest. So, Sulabha, very easy. Bhakti Yuktanam, equipped with bhakti. So, begins by chanting. So, when we chant, when we hear Shravanam, Kirtanam, when we hear from Bhagavatam, that Yatho Bhakti Adokshaje, we have to render bhakti to that Adokshaja, that Krishna who is beyond sense perception. Just by this culture of submissive hearing, one can understand the absolute truth. The understanding of the absolute truth is very nicely explained. The complete realization of the absolute truth. Actually, Suta Goswami, when he begins to address the questions of the sages in Naimisharanya, he says, Bhavadbir Lokamangalam, your questions are glorious because it will bring Lokamangala to all the people in this existence, material existence, who are caught up in this karma bandhana. They will be liberated. Why? Because these sort of questions will really satisfy the self. And that realization of Param Satyam, Param Tattvam is possible. The next shloka he says, Dharmasya hi apavargasya, dharma should not be for artha and labha and kama, and it should actually lead us to devotion to the Lord. And he says, Vadanti, they say, Tattva Vidaha, those are knower of truth. They say, what they say? Brahma iti Paramatma iti Bhagavan iti sabshabdyate. That Param Satyam, that Param Tattvam can be realized by all of us in three phases of understanding. The first realization of the absolute truth is Brahmamaya, Sarvavyapi, Tejomaya Swarupa. That Supreme Lord, all pervasive feature of the Supreme Lord is the first realization. And second realization of that Paratattva is Paramatma iti, the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Attribute. Parama means supreme. Param Gnana, that supreme knowledge about that supreme truth is revealed as Paramatma. Is everywhere, in every atom, in every living entity, in every Atma. We are Atma, and in every Atma He is there as Paramatma. So that realization is the second realization. And Bhagavan is a supreme Anandamaya state of realization. The last and the final stage of realization of Bhagavan iti shabdyate parama satyam is Anandamaya sakshatkara realization. So Bhagavan is the embodiment of the divine form of transcendental bliss. It's a supreme personality. He's got a form. That form is divine. It's not material like us. So this it is trying to establish, Bhagavatam. And we have a connection with that Lord, with that Supreme Lord, Param Satyam, Param Purushaha. And that is established by Bhakti. And Shraddha, we should have the first qualification, Tat Shraddadhana Munayo. In the next verse he says, Shraddadhana Munayo Gnana Vairagya Yuktaya Pashyanti Atmani Chatmanam Bhaktya Shrutagrihitaya. By this submissive hearing, Pashyanti, we can see that absolute truth, Supreme Lord, who is pervading everywhere as impersonal Brahman, Sarvavyapi, who is in Atma as Paramatma, who is the feature of Paramatma existing in all the living entities, and that Supreme Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, in His Bhagavan feature, is realized. Pashyanti, you can understand that Param Satyam by Shravana, hearing. Shruti Grihitaya means, Shruti means Veda. According to the Sammata of Veda, in consideration, in conscience with Shruti Shastra, our understanding should be in line with Shruti Shastras, not otherwise. If your understanding of the absolute truth is different from the understanding of the Bhagavatam, what is being mentioned, so that means it's our understanding has to be corrected, not that the Bhagavatam is wrong. Sometimes people, they say, what is this, in the Bhagavatam, every page, Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. So many things are mentioned. Because in our understanding, we have a different conception of who God is. So, it is not that the Bhagavatam is wrong, it is our understanding is wrong. So, Shruta Grihitaya, it should be in line, in conscience with the Shruti Shastra, Sadhu, and spiritual masters. Shruti Smriti, elsewhere it is mentioned, Shruti Smriti Purana Adi Pancharatra Vidim Vida Aikantiki Harir Bhakti Notpadya Iva Kalpate. In this society there are many people, with their own understanding. So unless their understanding is in line with Shruti, Smriti, Purana, Adi, it is only a disturbance in the community. So this Bhagavatam is propounding highest truth. It has to be in line with Shruti, Smriti, Purana. And then it mentions, this is very, very systematic. The bhakti is not ad hoc. When you hear what happens, Shravana, Adi, just by hearing submissively, Shuddha Chitta Karaya Uday, the consciousness, the pure consciousness of the living entities. Actually we are conscious. We are not inert like this table. We are all conscious. Now we are conscious of this body. I am this body. I am man. I am women. I am so and so. From this bodily consciousness, we have to actually come to Krishna consciousness, and this Bhagavatam is trying how to come to that topmost level of Krishna consciousness is very systematically established. Pancharatra vidim vina, there are Pancharatra, Shruti, Smriti, Purana, all this, in the conclusion of all this is to understand that Supreme Lord. And that understanding of Supreme Lord is very, very systematic. Harir Bhakti is Niyamita. Niyamita means very systematic. Actually, you'll see, there are, in sadhana bhakti, what we are trying to do, there are two categories. One is Vaidhi Bhakti and one is Raghanuga Bhakti. Both are in the category of sadhana bhakti. So there are three Niyamita Marga. The first one is Sadhana Marga, Sadhana Bhakti Marga. In that, Vaidhi Bhakti is the first category. The second category is Raghanuga Bhakti. And the second Niyamita Marga is Bhava Bhakti. In Bhava Bhakti there are 4 stages. One is Anubhava, Vibhava, Sattvika Bhava and Vibichara Bhava. All these are explained in Srimad Bhagavatam, and elaborately it is explained in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. How by Bhakti, this Amrita, the Sara, the living entity is actually hankering to relish. We are searching for happiness. The topmost happiness is in Bhakti. And this Rasa Amrita, the nectarian position of rendering Bhakti is elaborately explained in that scripture. And the third stage is Prema Bhakti. Prema Bhakti has got 5 different stages. Shantarasa Bhakti, Dasya Rasa Bhakti, Sakya Rasa Bhakti, Vatsalya Rasa Bhakti, and the highest is Madhurya Rasa Bhakti. So we can learn from this Shruta Grahitaya, by hearing submissively, this Bhakti has got a gradual development. It is not ad hoc. That today suddenly somebody says, okay, now I've realized God, and then you act. It's when you realize God, the symptoms of a person who has realized God is also mentioned. Arjuna is asking Krishna the questions, what is the activity of a person who has realized absolute truth? How does he walk? How does he talk? And what are his conduct? So everything is, so nothing is there for us to do research. Simply by hearing, submissive hearing, we can know the truth. And just by knowing, who is speaking truth, who is speaking lie, and what is correct and what is wrong. All this understanding is there in the Bhagavatam. What is to be done, what is not to be done, what is karma bandhaka and what is karma mochaka. Just like we have to do activity. What activity will lead us to bandhana is explained. By doing what sort of an activity, it will lead us to liberation. Beyond liberation, being established in our constitutional position with the Supreme Lord. That is explained. Just like the lock, you see, it's activity, you have to just turn. So which side you turn? Either you turn towards bandhana, activity when we are doing activity which will bind you more and more to this material world and degrade you in your consciousness to the lower forms of life, or you try to unlock, open up and gradually evolve, or at one shot you can be established by linking ourselves in disciplic succession, by the teachings of an Acharya like Srila Prabhupada, by performing certain activity which will release us from all karma bandhana. Now Prabhupada is trying to establish that bhakti to Krishna will release us from all fear. So from bandhana leads to fear, and the fear ultimately leads us to marana. So how we can win over death? Jivan muktasya vigneyo dehante paramam padam. Mukta jivana, even in this very life, how we can lead a liberated life is what this Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita and Acharyas are trying to give us this information. Jivana, this jivana we have to lead a life. And while performing our duties, how we can lead a liberated life, how we can lead a life of complete, sublime, happy existence. We are all existing. How to exist in line with scripture, in union with the opinion of the Lord. Jivan muktasya vigneyaha. One should know that even in this very life, one can lead a liberated life, and that is what Bhagavatam is trying to establish. By the performance of this niyamita bhakti, we can evoke in the core of the heart the Supreme Lord. Nashta prayeshu abhadreshu. Prayeshu, almost all the misgivings in the heart is completely removed. By what? Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Seva we have to do to Bhagavata. Prabhupada is a personification of Bhagavatam, is a person Bhagavata. He has established this organization, ISKCON, to give us an opportunity to do seva. Supreme Lord is Bhagavan, and we can render service to Him. And that service, opportunity is given in ISKCON. And when you are following Prabhupada's, it's just chanting, hearing, rendering some service in the temple. You don't know, you make a very quick progress. A captain in a ship knows we don't have to actually swim and try to cross over. Just sit in the boat and the ship, the captain will take you. So we are very, very fortunate. First of all, in this material world, we don't get ship or we don't get a shelter. Everyone is tossed and turmoiled. Every action leads to bandhan. But somehow, in the human form of life, we are supposed to inquire, and we don't know what sort of an inquiry we should do, what is right. Nothing we know. Simply we catch hold of Prabhupada, he will take us. Just like there was one devotee who was having this doubt. He said, Prabhupada, you're asking us to chant and follow regulative principles. No, I'm unable to do this. I'm unable to even follow basic principles. What little you have told, I'm very, very weak. And Prabhupada said, at least you chant. Minimum. So is chanting difficult? We have given this opportunity in the human form of life. When you get human form of life, Nara Janma, when you have this tongue, the uttering of the holy name of the Lord. Simply by uttering of the holy name of the Lord, we can attain perfection. That devotee was finding very difficult. And he says, I'm very poor, I'm very dull-headed, I'm very ignorant, very low. I don't understand all this. My makeup or the setup is, I'm like a donkey. And is it possible that I can attain liberation or I can attain? He says, no, don't worry. Just simply catch hold of my dhoti, I'll take you. So, we actually are like slaughtered animals being slaughtered by the powerful weapon of Kala. We don't know, we are waiting in a queue. But simply if we catch hold of Prabhupada's lotus feet, his dhoti tightly, simply try to come to ISKCON, simply hear, simply chant the holy name, simply try and render some service, we will escape the slaughter's wrath and slaughter, and there is no more janana, marana, and the cycle of all that. So apavargan, dharmasya, tattva jignasam, the real principle of dharma is tattva jignasa, not artha, not kama, and rendering of devotion. That all that purpose is simply achieved by little bit of devotion to a pure devotee. Actually, in Bhagavatam, I'll end with one very wonderful analogy from Mahabharata, from Srimad Bhagavatam. See, this material world is full of danger. Either danger may come by our own ignorance, or somebody may actually plot a danger. Just like even during the Vanavasa of Pandavas, Duryodhana was constantly trying to harass the devotees, trying to put them in dangerous position, but Krishna was always there with them. So how in Vedas, in Shastras it is said, Yasmin tushte jagat tushtaha. Tushti, complete satisfaction, we can attain. Suprasidati, yena atma suprasid, by which atma can find satisfaction is satisfying the Supreme Lord. And satisfaction of the Supreme Lord is very, very simple in bhakti. So, this Pandavas, when they were there, Durvasa was sent by Duryodhana with his 60,000 disciples. He went to Yudhishthira, and particularly after Draupadi had consumed her meals, because they had this Akshaya Patra by which unlimited food, varieties of food can be produced. So once Draupadi eats from that, it is exhausted. So when Durvasa goes there, and then Yudhishthira receives him very happily, and then they say, we will just go to the river bank, take bath, and we'll come back. Meanwhile, you can arrange for our food. And at that time, Yudhishthira asks Draupadi, please, can you arrange? Draupadi is in a perplexed situation. She expresses that she has finished her meal, and once she finishes her meal, the Akshay Patra for the day stops producing the unlimited food. So she's in a perplexed situation. At that situation, the devotees, naturally they pray to Lord. And Yudhishthira and all the Pandavas, Draupadi, they think of the Supreme Lord. They pray to Krishna that we are in a difficult situation. Immediately Dwarkadish, Krishna is there. And Krishna is Sarvagna, knower of everything. So Krishna comes and he says, Draupadi, is there anything for me? I'm feeling very, very, very hungry. I can't bear my hunger. Is there anything for me to eat? And Draupadi is much more morose to hear that, here Supreme Lord, and I can't even offer him anything. She's trying to establish a conversation, trying to explain it to him. Krishna, no, I don't want to hear anything. Where is your Akshay Patra? Is there anything? And Krishna takes Akshay Patra and he takes one morsel grain. There's only one grain. And he takes that, he eats it, and he says, I'm completely satisfied. I'm tushtaha. He says, I'm satisfied. So, what one single morsel of grain can satisfy Supreme Lord? But here, he only came there and he wanted to bring the Pandavas out of the calamity, dangerous situation. He just took one grain and he ate it. And he said, Aham tushtaha, I am completely satisfied. And there, the Durvasa and all the 60,000 disciples were taking bath. They felt so tushtaha, so satisfied, as if they have eaten kantaha, neck full of feast, as if they had full feast, and they're burping, satisfied. And Durvasa is thinking, what is this? I'm so full and I can't go there to Yudhishthira, and if I go there they will naturally feed me with feast, and if I try to eat even one morsel I will vomit and I can't bear it, and let me just go away. You see, by rendering devotional service to Krishna, if Krishna is satisfied, everyone is satisfied. The example of Durvasa. So, if we try to satisfy a pure devotee, in early morning we chant this prayer, Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasado. By satisfying you, Supreme Lord Krishna is satisfied. So satisfying Prabhupada somehow or other, either by book distribution, either by giving some practical service, be it a menial service, no problem. We are getting benefit. We are satisfying the Supreme Lord. And by that satisfaction, we can attain topmost destination. So by this, I'd like to conclude, I'd like to end. Anybody has got any questions or any comments or suggestion? ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की, ताय गौर प्रेमानंद।